call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Recognition of visitors.
I didn't have anybody that requested to speak this
Okay.
evening.
All right, then we'll go on to approve agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Dewey. Do we have a second?
Second, Dale.
Second by Dale, and we'll be doing a roll call vote. Wendy,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Dewey,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. Cobra Pride.
I have two people in particular that I wanted to recognize tonight. And Mr. Lernerman was maybe going to join in. He is on vacation, so I said that I feel bad, but I did want him to know that I was going to be recognizing him tonight because the work that he and Mr. Van Beek have done over the past 15 months certainly deserves recognition. And, when you think of your admin team, I feel very fortunate to have two very competent people that have been here through this whole pandemic and have made a lot of things a lot easier for everybody and done a great job of communicating. They've done a great job of listening, working with staff, done anything and everything I could have asked them for, other than I've tried to get them to relax a little bit and check out a little bit because they also need to take care of themselves. So I was glad that they've been able to get a little bit of vacation now this summer, but man, they are both grinders and they have really done an outstanding job. So I just wanted to thank Luke and Shane for all the work that they've done for the district over these in your career too, but specifically
Especially.
these last few months. Wow, you guys they've done an amazing job and very thankful to have them on our team here at Triton.
Thank you.
I also got a picture with your tie.
Approve consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull out of the consent agenda before we approve it? If not,
To approve.
motion by Jim. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Missy. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Lloyd, Dewey,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. New business, 7.1, discuss approve designating the Dodge County Independent as official newspaper for the 2021-2022 fiscal year.
Basically something we need to do every year, and fortunately, we do have a paper that we can call our official paper because as you know, that's not a lot of those where there's not competition for that kind of thing anymore. Years ago, there used to be multiple papers where now we really do have just the one weekly paper.
Can I get a motion to approve 7.1?
I move to approve 7.1.
Motion by Wendy,
Second, Dale.
second by Dale. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy?
Yes.
Dale?
Yes.
Lloyd? Dewey?
Yes.
Missy?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
And Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.2, discuss approved policy updates.
The majority of the policy updates, there are some that we need to annually review and update, but most of the red line language and the things that were changed with MSBA, we're changing language to fall in line with some of the, vaping, those types of things that we've done before. So really a quiet year when it comes to policies. The other thing that I added was our policy, the 504 policy. And the only thing I wanted to change was to strike the language after the principal, because right now, the way the policy is written, hats and headgear are forbidden unless otherwise indicated by the principal. But then it goes on to say, if there is a medical condition or other situation, and basically talking with Luke, he would like to get rid of that moving forward, because he didn't want to present his handbook, because that is something he allowed last year and it was not a huge issue. And I think that that's something that, you know, when we talked about the mask mandate, it was like, it's going to be hard to ask kids to wear a mask and then also tell them they can't wear their hat. You know, you're mandating one thing and not the other. So at this point, that's, I mean, we would approve the handbooks next month, but we really couldn't approve the handbooks this month unless we had the district policy change. So really, it's just giving the principals the authority or the ability to say, yes, we have them, or no, we don't. And Luke can talk to more about that when we have the handbooks next month.
So you're saying they can't wear the hat, right?
No,
They can't.
right now, the district policy says no headgear unless
Okay.
allowed by the principal and it has the reasons, and the reasons, we would just like to get rid of the reason, just say it's up to the principal to make that decision.
Okay. I was one of those kids. Just wanted that. I still am.
It's not offensive. I make motion to approve 7.2, Dale.
Okay, motion by Dale,
Second, Jim.
second by Jim. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dewey,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.3, discuss approve resolution adopting independent school district number 2125 fiscal year 23 long-term facilities maintenance 10-year plan.
And it's really just continuing with what we've done. And last year was the big update to get all of the things done that we're doing, and we really don't have anything that we're adding to that. So it's just continuing with what we proposed last year.
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Lloyd. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dewey,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.4, discuss approve SRO memorandum of agreement for 2021-2022.
Just looking to renew the agreement that we've had. I did do some checking with some other schools, and just so you know, we're getting a really good deal with the way the county is adding to our funding, so it's not us and Hayfield solely contributing. The county actually has a portion that they kick in as well. And I found out that that's not the case with some school districts where they're paying for it entirely. So looking at the amount that we're spending to get this service is very minimal. And I was very pleased to find out we're getting such a good deal.
Are there any questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve 7.4?
So moved.
Motion by Lloyd,
Second.
second by Dale. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dewey,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.5, discuss approved calendar adjustment.
So when we came out with the original calendar, there was a March 7th District Day. And that was the date that we were going to use for the band Zed Musical Festival that will be here at Triton. Well, the section came back to us and said that the March 7th date does not work. Could we move it to the 14th? Said, well, we can, but we have to adjust our calendar if we're going to do that. So really, that's what I'm looking to do here, is just change the date from this Monday, the 7th to Monday, the 14th for the district day. And then we would have the section.
It's a larger musical festival where they would use classrooms as home bases. Several schools come in, so it'd be ideal. It wouldn't work if it was a school day, but if it was a district day, we could make it work.
So does that affect any of the teachers or anything? It's like,
It just changes the day that they have their work day from the 7th to the 14th.
I don't, but that's,
I don't have anybody that's requested that day off yet.
that's what I was asking.
Yeah, no, so we should be good.
I will make a motion to approve 7.5 calendar adjustment as
Motion by Wendy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Missy. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Aye.
Dewey,
Yes.
Missy,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Rebecca, yes. Motion carries. 7.6 Z report.
Okay, they do have cameras out there, so if you go on the Z website, you should be able to see something. I don't.
I sent it in the Friday update too. There's a link. So if you just click on that, but it's a time lapse. So you can see what's going on. And they,
We had a meeting last Thursday.
yep.
Yeah, and they started pouring footings.
Mhm.
You did that also. For whatever reason, there was only five of us were there, and yeah, we're in person now. We can't, yeah. And I guess they have two potential serious buyers for the district office. Yeah, well, no prices have been, nothing formal yet, but that's what he said. They were serious. Well, I think one's local, Casson, maybe area. I'm not sure if they knew where the other. But they do have a backup plan if something happens soon. As far as people moving
Wanted to move
in
in
the
early.
district office, so they could sell it immediately. I guess some of the issue gets to be businesses aren't, with COVID going, or, well, things getting better. They don't know what they need for space, really. Yeah, they've had a lot of people interested. And they probably won't put the south up. Well, it is out there, I guess, but formally and pushing it. They don't like them listed too long, so they're gonna wait 3-4 months here yet before they push it. And they are on multiple, I mean, it's not just, I believe it's Edina Realty that has it. Oh, the new Byron Soup introduced himself to us. And I'm sorry, I can't quite remember his name.
It starts with an N. I've not memorized it either.
Yeah. But anyway, he intends to get around to all the districts. And
I have not met him yet.
yeah, he mentioned, he had been to a couple, I guess, but he had mentioned he hadn't been to Triton yet.
Okay.
But I guess he intends to get out there. And then a little bit, maybe back from June, I don't know if you noticed on their budget, there was a deficit spending, and a lot of that has to do with Pine Island. A little over 200,000, and it's kind of a one-time deal, and they figured they could absorb that.
So the money for the buildings, does that go back into the general fund, or does that?
It
does
goes back
Pine
into
Island
the
get a chunk of
building.
that then, because they got the other money?
No, that was negotiated with their settlement.
The whole set.
Yeah, they're,
So then once they sell those buildings, it won't be a deficit
It's-
so much?
the money from the buildings is going back into the project,
Oh, okay.
is my understanding. It's part of the funding for the building.
This is the last year for Pine Island, right?
Yeah,
This
they'll
will
be
be the
done in
last.
2022.
Have you heard anything what they're gonna do later, or after this year?
They're trying to do some stuff on their own, I guess. They're set up, I don't know, they've set.
They're trying to
somewhere-
renovate or do something, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess.
We got bids with one Castle. It's just a couple buildings, or a couple openings, so we are doing something. So where the funding goes,
Well, there's special ed, will go.
I mean, they would be
Yeah,
also, yeah.
but yeah, instead of, they won't, I mean, it gets, build back, you know, and it ends up, you know, Zed will bill us for whatever services they won't be dealing with Zed. They'll get their funding themselves. I don't know if there's any questions I can try and.
Okay, thank you.
Whoops, sorry. There is one thing. Yeah, they had the groundbreaking and a lot of the Z staff showed up and they're really appreciative of all the efforts the districts have to make this happen. It's a big deal to them.
Well, they've been talking about it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
So I just want to make, aware of, they're really appreciative of what's happening.
Okay. Thank you. 7.7, principals reports.
You want me to stand up or?
Sure. No, I think if you. Oh, you're fine.
Well, since last board meeting, obviously I've transitioned down to the elementary school. Mary was here a couple days at the end of June after our last board meeting, and I'm feeling in a good spot. And a big task through the month of July is I've been meeting with staff individually, either on a Zoom meeting or a few of them have been coming into the building. So that's been really great to get to know them on a more personal level and just hear what needs they have for their classrooms. In addition, I had an opportunity to meet with Carrie and Chris and the team, which is the PTA group for the elementary school, pre-K through 5. We had that meeting last Monday, and I think we're going to be able to keep a good relationship there. I'm excited for some of the things that they offer to the school district, and we'll be very supportive of them and to our school throughout as long as I'm down there. A couple staffing updates for the next board meeting. There'll be another addition to the elementary staff. Her name is Megan Krenz. She is the wife of the assistant principal at the middle school level. Megan's coming to us to help out with our MTSS team and title. So Cheryl Pischke retired. So technically Megan's kind of coming into her role, but then we were fortunate enough to hire Cheryl back. So we'll have an additional person in that title. You'll start hearing the term MTSS a lot as we're moving towards that framework. MTSS stands for multi-tiered support systems. Years ago, it was more of an RTI, response to intervention. MTSS is more of identifying the needs for our students early and then putting interventions in place that are scientifically based and backed, and then documenting how those interventions are impacting student learning and giving supports for all of our students, whether that's the tier 1 kid that is general education, or there's then some education might be needed for what we would call tier 2, which is more smaller group, and then tier 3 would also be individual. With that MTSS, it targets not only the students that are below grade level, but also we're going to be able to offer some supports to our students that are above grade level. One of my focuses here is what are we doing with our high flyers? And I know looking at the table, many of your students were high flyers, and oftentimes they just, Wendy already knows that she's fine, so let's focus on everyone else. Or what are we doing for those students to keep pushing them to continuously be high flyers? We know that our high flyers get back to high flying in high school, but sometimes I wonder if we can push them more at that elementary level. So you'll have a contract approval next month for Megan. We also had a post for a couple more paraprofessional positions in the elementary school. It's not that we lost any, we just have a high sped population coming into kindergarten. Currently we have a little bit over 50 students in the kindergarten, and about 24 of them are identified as special education students. Now that doesn't mean it's all behavioral sped or specific learning disabilities. A few of them are on speech and things of that nature, but there's a good portion down there, which causes us a need for hire a couple more paraprofessionals. We also have a posting out there for elementary library media aid. Our Carrie took a job at Mayo. She was not unhappy with Triton. She loved Triton. Basically, it came down to a family decision, probably for the benefits of Mayo. Being a spouse of a Mayo employee, I can understand the want to get those benefits at home. So there's a couple postings out there. We've got some good applicants, which is good news, because oftentimes for paraprofessional positions, we don't get many applicants, but there's 6 or 7 for the paraprofessional. And then we have a couple of internal candidates that are interested in potentially going to the elementary media specialist aide type position. But if you know of anyone looking for those type of jobs, I'm gonna leave it open for another week or so. And then as a committee, I'll get a couple special education teachers, probably Mr. Luderman, gen ed teacher, and a couple paras, and we'll go through an interview process and hopefully bring on some rock stars for our paraprofessionals. This week was the second round of summer school, or the targeted services in the elementary school. So I wanted to thank Emily Fishneck, Tara Bradford down there, working with those kiddos on a daily basis. And they're doing a great job. And Hannah Hintz is also down there for the 3 classrooms. So today through this week, and then next week we'll have summer school for elementary down there. Other thing I just wanted to throw out there, I did send a generic parent communication out last Thursday on July 15th, just kind of introducing myself as the elementary principal and trying to do a little recruiting for team. It wasn't anything specific about this upcoming school year, but you'll see communications coming out from the elementary school at the end of July again, in the middle of August, then one more right at the beginning of September. Looking up into the middle school, it's been pretty quiet down there. I'm still receiving the phone calls. If someone were to call the middle school, there's not much action going on down there. But I know Luke has also been heavily involved, working with that staff in the middle school. They completed an MTSS training since our last board meeting. So Luke is definitely keeping that building afloat in this time until Mr. Krenz comes in here, and we're expecting him in the next couple days or weeks. Looking into the high school, I know that Mr. Luderman worked with his staff on those policy changes, and the one that you approved today. I just want to we're looking at that 9-12 for potential allowing of hats. That 6-8 middle school, sometimes at that middle school age when hats are worn, you get more of the flipping of the hats and the tossing of the hats and stuff. So the middle school staff have a discussion there. At the elementary level, we're not thinking of hats at this time, but I want to receive some more staff feedback. So the hat wearing was kind of intentionally looking at that high school, that 9-12 population, with a chance of going down into the middle school. But as I said, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, hats can cause a little bit of a distraction in the middle school classes. So unless you had any questions for me, that's all I have. Yes, sir.
So you say there's 2 positions for the para, you said?
Yep, we're looking to hire 2.
And then both gonna be for the kindergarten, basically, or?
One would be for kindergarten, the other one would be for Adam Anderson, who's a sped teacher down there, very difficult caseload. And I think some support for him. And that's not just coming from Adam, that's coming from Dana and Elaine. And I can tell you from being down there last year, his caseload, another paraprofessional in his room would definitely aid with the behaviors. In the staff check-ins, concern number 1 from the staff, from 99% of the elementary staff, has been behaviors down there of our, I'll call them our high flyer behavior kids. You know, Craig is getting sent out every single day. Nothing seems to happen to Craig. So part of that MTSS is working with Zed, getting a behavioral analyst involved in our MTSS team, doing the interventions early enough. Because at some point, if it's just keep on sending the kid out, that's educational malpractice. We're not meeting the needs of that student, and we're also causing a lot of stress on those teachers. So what can we do for those high behavioral kids? Perhaps that's getting some additional resources within our district. And at the extreme cases, it might mean going to South Campus. That's what South Campus is for. We're not designed for a setting for EBD child. And then if they can prove that they can slowly work their way back, then we want them here, obviously. And I'm not saying that we're going to be just trying to ship everyone off, because we don't want to do that. But we do want to offer supports for the kids and make sure that they're getting stuff out of the education. But I think I cut you off. What were you?
No, I can't support the parents, so. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm married to one, so.
The big thing is just having a process that we follow. They should do a nice job with the staff and kind of looking at what would that look like.
For years, we would have a student get to 6th grade, and this can go all the way back to when Mr. Schlicken was in the middle school. And any staff that taught that student would say, yeah, it's a round peg trying to be shoved into a square hole. They'd get to 6th grade or 7th grade, then we'd get them into South Campus, and then maybe they'd transition back by 9th grade, and they'd be in a better spot to learn. where even our grade class sizes, they're nice and small, but if you have one student, they can rob a lot of education for the other students in that classroom where it's all behavior based on that one student. So what can we do to put processes in place systematically so the teachers feel supported, that kids getting what they're needed, so that education can happen for all.
Sounds good.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Just to kind of on the principles, and I know Luke has been working on it, and I can share, but the one thing that he has looked at is the position that we just had resigned. He thinks we can cover that without hiring, so there needs to be a little light work, and he's contacted staff that he would need to work with. But when you have the one thing that's difficult when you have specialized classes like concurrent, you can't just go out and hire a concurrent teacher. It's hard enough to go find a teacher this time of year, but to find a concurrent teacher is even harder. So he's adjusted the workload, if you will, so we can have staff that's licensed to do that, and make some adjustments. And it's definitely a possibility. And I mean, if we get a great candidate that applies, wonderful, but I'm not holding my breath. So, and I said, I'd rather have the quality staff we have, because with some of the class sizes being a little bit smaller, there were a number of staff that weren't on 6th class assignment as it was. So it would just be adding them back on 6th class. So just kind of a quick update on that too, because that was definitely something I was worried about when we met with and talked about that. So he does have a solution in mind. So just so you know. Yeah, I'll do that in my
In
update.
yours, okay.
Yep.
All right, then 7.8 superintendent's report.
All right, few things I want to cover. MDE and executive orders. One of the things that with the executive orders going away, a lot of things have changed. And still working with Department of Education, Department of Health, what can't do. But the gist of what I'm getting out of all of that is local control. Really pushing that the school district needs to work with the Dodge County Department of Health and assess and determine what it is and when it is, whatever it is we need to do. One of the biggest changes, and my next bullet item is incident command team meetings. I met with them today. The state has not granted an extension for distance learning. So without having distance learning, it's very difficult to look at that situation and say, well, how are you going to quarantine kids and send kids home without distance learning? It just, and I know the Department of Health is still saying that we're supposed to do that, but I don't know how we can do that when we don't have distance learning. And I did talk to Patrick Gordon. He is going to continue to look at, but it would not be until the 2022 year when they move into the new building, but having online as an option. Because anytime you have a student that's attending school but not here, that would be considered online learning if it's more than 20%. So we could actually, I mean, and I talked to Luke about that. You could have a class at the high school where you require a student to be there 4 days a week, and they could do 1 day a week online, and that would be okay. But anything more than 20%, not okay. Then you have to have the state's permission. And there are a number of schools that do hybrid type classes like that, where, you know, it works in helping a student schedule. But right now, looking at continuing to kind of do things the way we've done, in-person learning and moving forward, and kind of reviewed all of that with the incident command team meeting. And we're going to have another meeting in another month and just kind of keep checking in. I told them I would like to continue to meet. I think communication is good. And I found that just communicating with that group helps communicate with others and just have them as people that people can go to.
Are there any board members on that team?
Yes,
I am.
Rebecca. Scoreboards, audio update. We have the funding to take care of the new scoreboards, and we still have place to sell an additional sponsor spot. And with the revenue that we would be bringing in, we could also update our audio system. As you know, that's been kind of an issue for us as well. I believe I sent the pictures in the board update on Friday. They changed slightly because the one had the 2 layers of truss work, and it would be reduced to one, and then put a layer of truss work on the other scoreboard and make that scoreboard bigger, and it would be about the same cost. So big thanks to Luke for going out and reconnecting with all of those. I know Shane and Luke did a lot of work prior to the pandemic, working with those people, and it was nice that when they reconnected with a lot of them, they were thumbs up, ready to go. But it would be a 5-year commitment that they would sponsor, and then they would get their name on the scoreboard, and it would pay for the scoreboards.
And the big difference with the scoreboards will be what we refer to as stat panels. So where it says the player names, and for volleyball, it lists how many kills or digs, and then for basketball, points and rebounds, and they'll be larger scoreboards.
Activities report in the future. I'd like to do that after the principal's report, and I'd like to introduce Corey Black, our new activities director. Boy, you rolled up your sleeves and got to work right away. We cleaned out the office and had a week off there, honeymoon. But he's back and been doing a lot of things too. So I'll let you talk though.
Yeah, so hi, everybody. I'm really glad to meet everybody. Basically what I've been doing over the first 3 weeks is just trying to come in and meet people. That's been the biggest thing. I've tried to schedule individual meetings with coaches for the first 3 weeks. I think I've met everybody so far, either through a video conference call or in-person meeting, which has been awesome. I think that I'm very fortunate, number one, to have Shane here to kind of show me the ropes and kind of tell me the ins and outs of how to do everything. But not only that, but you're coming into a district where we don't have a lot of coaching positions that are open and needing to be filled. And I think that just kind of goes to show how great of a culture that we have here at Triton and how many people want to stick around and be a part of it for a long period of time. Along with that, we've been working on transitioning over to the Gopher Conference. So our school website is now fully complete and updated with our schedules that are transferred over to the new conference. So it's really great that we can kind of have that hurdle in our back mirror and be able to kind of see what the new schedule is going to be. Everything's completed as far as all the competition dates and things on that. So it's a good kind of change for us to be able to go see the new website. Besides that, the biggest thing that we're working on now is filling the boys soccer position for the upcoming season. So when Coach Bennington decided to step down, we had an opening created. We created a job posting, and at this point in time, we haven't received any applicants. So if you know of anybody or anyone who would be interested, push them to that link. That'd be great. But once again, we're just trying to find somebody who can come in and be a person to kind of come in and represent the profile of the graduate that we've established as the core values of Triton High School, so we can build those community members that we really want. I'm just really excited to get to work and kind of be able to help out as much as I can. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the future. Any questions? No? Awesome. Thank you.
The other thing I'll add, the banners that we had in the competition gym, actually we were able to sell those for the same amount we bought them for, so it was a pretty good deal. And the replacements actually costed less, so pretty good deal. But with that, one of the things that we decided to kind of talking it over, be really nice to put those banners for the other schools in the other gym as well. So we'll have those, because right now there's just an HVL banner that has the schools listed. That other far wall will have the representation from all the other schools in there as well. So to really dress up that gym as well. Look sharp, and they are sharp.
Those banners look really nice.
Corey's got in his
Yeah,
office
they're in my
already.
office right now.
Dave just said he wanted to wait to hang them up until they were done with all of the things in the gym, because if he was in there with heavy equipment, who scratched the floor. So we wanted to make sure that they were done with all the duct work and everything, and that's done. I know I've shared that picture, but wow, the gym really looks bright and nice with all of the work that's been done in there. Study session, just, two big things, and Patty put together kind of, Wendy, that thing that you had shared, but she has a spreadsheet with all the linkable policies, so we can start to review those at the next meeting. I have a couple in particular that I want to talk about, but we will just need to, we really can come up with our own schedule, but I would like to go over that spreadsheet at the study session, and I'll send that to you beforehand, but there are a couple little tweaks that I'm still making to it, but it's really cool because you can filter by date, you can filter by number or whatever. And then there are a number of policies that are mandatory that you review every year. So those are ones that we can review, but when you go back to it, there's, I think 2005, 2006 are the oldest ones that we have. That'd be a good place to start, but I would like to let you know which policies, as we move forward that we're going to be looking at. But I think for this first study session, that we'll just talk about that process and start to look at the policies and how we want to do that. We can discuss that. And then I'll also go over the equity audit recommendations, as I mentioned in the past. Lastly, I wanted to go over this. I talked a little bit about this with Guy as the site manager that's here. Got a lot of really good news today. They basically have labeled all of the different areas in the school. And I'll share this in the board update on Friday. But he said we're actually, the inspectors were in today. And that was kind of the big holdback on putting ceiling tiles in, because we didn't want to put the ceiling tiles in and then have to pop them out and look at everything. So the grid work is in, but really all that's left now, the inspector came today and signed off on a number of areas. So they're just going to put ceiling tiles in. And once the ceiling tiles in, you can kind of see the above ceiling inspection, and then it's the installation of the ceiling tile, then it's the removal of the flooring protection, and then it's turn the space over to the owner. So we will be getting spaces turned over to us this week already. That will be done hallway wise, which is great. And Dave and his crew have been doing a great job. Like I shared that, cleaning one side of the room and then the other. And I don't know, that might be the way we do it in the future too, because it does save a lot of moving things into the hallway and back and forth. And it's a different way of cleaning, but it seems to be working. And it's actually less moving of the furniture. It's by just moving it to one side, cleaning and waxing, then moving it to the side that's been cleaned and waxed. And the other thing that's going to be huge for us with dehumidification next year, because these high school classrooms, it's always a little more difficult not having dehumidification to make sure that that wax gets fully dried. So really looking forward to getting some parts of the building turned over. The only other, and I mentioned this with our incident command team, we are really on schedule, and that dirt pile is disappearing as we speak. Once that's done, guys said they'll be putting in curb and gutter this week. And then really projecting to have asphalt going down that first week in August. So things are really cooking along. Any of the risk items, things that we were concerned about, the only thing that is not on site that we were worried about, the variable speed drive showed up, so they'll be here this week. That was kind of one of those things that it's like, oh crap, it might be pushed back but we've got them. All of the pipe fittings have arrived. Everything's good. The only thing we're waiting on is the carpet for the media centers, but everything else is, and that's been kind of an issue for a lot of construction projects where they're low on materials or don't have the things they need. So I feel fortunate that we're right on track. And yeah, soil cementing's done. They're putting all that gravel down. Once they get that done, the parking lots that dirt pile is going to disappear, and that'll be a welcome change. They've been moving a lot of dirt and gravel, but quite the process. And I think that's all I had. Any questions for me?
So the lake's fixed on the pool?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's ordered.
It's ordered.
It's still laying there, bent. But yeah, that really was, that was kind of a tough week. They had a few different things that happened there digging wise, and hit some electrical and I think what happened is some of the electrical that was, and it's not, none of it falls on us. It's all on them. But I think when they marked the pavement and then they ground up the pavement, and those markings were gone. So they didn't remark them. And I think that's why they ended up hitting that line that they hit. So, but the other thing is that, we did run the line. So the bus shed will have in the past, they've been wireless. So they'll be connected and then we'll be able to connect the one crow's nest on the south side. So like streaming and all that, I know a lot of people really like the streaming, but the streaming was really poor quality because we didn't have a really solid connection. We'll have a good connection now down there, for soccer, track, everything. And, yeah.
And what about the buses there? The two buses they use?
Yeah, Dave was, Dave's partner that was gonna go check on them had an accident, so but Dave's got a pretty good read on that. It sounds like they are still waiting for them to come in, but everything sounds good on those, and I think that'll fall in place. That'll be a nice to have that taken care of. Other questions?
Thank you. Do we have any other new business? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Dewey.
Second.
Second by Dale. We'll do a roll call vote. Wendy?
Yes.
Dale?
Yes.
Floyd? Dewey?
Yes.
Missy?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Rebecca, yes.